Hey guys, Moneyman300 got another tuning video here today. This time we have the Class D Ferrari 250 Cali, and this is a very good car in D class. Another speed car, like I said. I think I mentioned it in my last video that this is the one I wanted to build next. Get a couple of good speed cars, a little different kind of speed car than the big American muscle horsepower car. Now you got the small Italian, less horsepower but nimble and still very fast, still considered a speed car. It's not something like nimble like a Mini, but you know, it's definitely a smaller car, definitely a cool looking car. So we're running this one on Indy GP, which is not a track that I'm particularly good at, although I'm a lot better than I used to be. And my rival just happened to be someone in about 500th place on there, so we will kick this out here. Again, this is going to be a speed car, going to do well on the speed tracks. It's really the same types of tracks that the last one, the Challenger, I did. It just gives us another option to go to that you can go back and forth and drive different types of cars. Going to do well in the lobbies as well. Not strictly a leaderboard car by any means. I've been able to turn in the test drives pretty consistent laps over and over again with this. So here we go, see what we can do. This is our second lap, did the warm-up lap, getting ready to start that second one. So see what we got here. You can see the speed already off there. See if I can actually drive it. Just a touch late on that turn, but not terrible. It's good. The back end's going to get a little loose on you with this, but it's definitely drivable. It corrects itself. You just let off the gas a little bit, it'll snap back in for you. You see, this is the part of the track where that Celica is definitely a little better than I am. Ooh, there, lost the back. Can't get that back in straight. I didn't want to let off the gas there. Probably should have for just a quick second. I'm going to have to just keep it close here through this part of the track so I can use the speed at the end. I almost feel like the tires aren't quite there yet, which is possible. Yeah, the tires are still a little... It's his second lap, and normally they'd be warm, and it doesn't show any blue, but you can feel it. They're just not quite grabbing there. Still might have enough to get them here. Let's see what we got. Use that speed, dive down in here. Come on. Is it going to be enough? I might have to go one more lap, and it is not quite enough there. So we'll see what we can get in this... in this next lap, get that middle portion of the track just a little bit better this time. Getting just late on that turn again. Just gonna be nice and easy on the throttle. Obviously not running any traction control or any... This is where he caught me last time. So maybe a little smoother through this part of the track. Come out of there in pretty good shape. Try not to spin the wheels so much this time. There we go, that was better. Just have to be nice and smooth on the throttle. Just don't jam on it too much on here. Until you get the car straight. And I cut that corner too much. That's going to dirty our lap, which is unfortunate. And then I'm all over the place. Like, then I kind of freaking panic, but I'm still gonna get him pretty easily here. And that little cut, you know, it wasn't like if I take that turn good, it's not gonna really affect my time. Maybe, you know, hundredths of a second different, or even thousands probably. But gonna beat him by a pretty good margin here. You know, we're gonna get into the 142s and that 142.9 range. I'm not gonna run. I know I can can definitely get some more out of that. Did cut that one turn just a touch short, but you can see what the car can do. It's good enough. I'm probably gonna drive it and go get me a clean one and get that leaderboard time up there. You can see I haven't really lapped D in a long time, so I don't have many times that are really out there. And I never really lapped this track at all before. I think I had something in like 800th place. That time there, for a reference, would have been in the 200th place range, so pretty good there. Well, it didn't show my time. It was 140, like 142.7 or something like that. But yeah, would have been in the 220th range on that. And so again, that was second lap type stuff, or I had to go third lap. So I have my third lap in, so that's pretty good. So let's go head over to the garage and check out our build. Okay, so here we are over in the garage. Let's go in and take a look at our parts here. Still got that classic Ferrari red on this one. Really didn't want to change that up too much. Like to stick with the classic colors on classic cars. So anyway, let's head over into our engine conversion. We're not going to have anything here this time. You really can't do anything. 4.5 liter V8 takes you way up, and the V12, but this thing is a beast with a V12 in it. Probably undrivable would be my guess up in those higher classes, but maybe not. So anyway, nothing there. We're default rear-wheel drivetrain, and then no turbo in this case either. Could have done something in this range here, but I would have had to sacrifice a fair amount of other things that just didn't seem like the right thing to do. And the car is plenty fast, as you saw on there. It doesn't need that, and you don't want to sacrifice. You'd have to sacrifice some gearing and the little tires that you have on there. So it really didn't make much sense. So if we go into the engine area, I don't believe I have anything here. Let me check the couple of things I was messing with, just make sure I didn't end up anything. You can see I bought a few of these. Oh, I do have one. So I have the sport ignition in here, extra 3 PI for 6 horsepower, and that's going to be all I have. I didn't even look anything out to the right of the exhaust, so that got me right to the 400. So I don't have, so just the one part, the sport ignition. In the engine upgrade area, we're going to have the race brakes, the race springs and dampers, race roll bars, front and rear. No roll bar, just puts a ton of PI onto the car. So didn't want to add weight and PI, didn't seem to make any sense. Car handles fine without it, and no weight reduction either. That's interesting. What is this? Why does... It's like stock weight reduction or stock weight reduction. That's weird. Or race weight. So you can get 163 pounds, but it takes 14 PI. So confused on that stock. But anyway, it doesn't change your weight distribution, and it takes you down to 2,100 pounds from 2,300 pounds. The car's already plenty light. Really isn't any reason to do the race weight reduction in that. It just doesn't get you good enough benefits. This is one area where you really needed something. I had to go to the sport transmission. You really need the adjustable gears. The gears, it's not geared very well. With the stock, the gears are really tall, and the acceleration is not very good, or the launch. So I did go to here to try this. It was better, but I was barely getting to 5th gear on the straightaway and just really not using all of the horsepower appropriately. So this one's really one that does need the sport transmission, and definitely is worth the extra 3 PI. It probably improved my lap times by second and a half, 2 seconds, just right off the bat, just by changing that. So you are going to want the sport transmission so that you can get a little bit more adjustable gear. I think that the gearing that I have on here is going to be sufficient for most of the speed tracks. Going to get you right up to the top of that 5 on Bathurst, on Indy GP, on those that have a little bit longer straightaway like that. So that's good. I think I did end up with the driveline again. Always check this at the end to see if you can get some free weight out of it. So in this case, I got an extra 8.5 pounds without having to add any additional PI. And then we do have, as always, the race differential. So let's go over into our tires and see what we did here. We're gonna have stock tires. There really isn't anything else that you can have on stock tires, other than that. So that's what we've got there. Head over here into this part here, and we've got the do have the upgraded width. So we have the 225s in the front and the 235s in the rear. Couldn't quite get all the way up here. Could have sacrificed the other horsepower. So could have dropped 6 horsepower, which might be worth it, and get just a little bit more grip on there. it's something you could play around with. I mean, your tune's going to be the same either way, so you could still do that. Drop out that sport ignition. I don't remember. That's probably about 2 or 3 PI, I think. So you could do that. So if you want to get a little bit more grip, I elected to stay here, get just a little bit extra horsepower, and do that. So, and then we've got finally our, there it is there, the upgraded tires and rims, the heavy ones again on those. And then let's get over here. I did not do width again. Could have, right? You could go in here and actually let you do some. I just elected to keep this stock. To be honest with you, I think I just forgot to come in here and try it. I don't know that it's going to be any better by doing that, but you certainly can do that if that works better for you on that. And we have the front and rear aero. I also have put the bumper on this. I think it was free, and I like the look of it better without the chrome on the outside, so I did that. And then we did the engine swap already, so that is all of our build. Let's hop in and take a look at our tune. Okay, so let's take a look at our numbers here. Starting with the tires, we have 28 in the front and 27.5 in the back. Again, typical for rear wheel drive. Pretty much where I start at, and unless there's any real need to change it, I normally don't change it a whole lot. I mentioned the transmission. This is something that you will want to change on here. I went to 4.8. I really tried to just dial it in to get the best 0 to 60 number in there, along with a good top speed. This felt good. This was also trying to get it to where I was pretty close to the red line at the end of the long straightaway. So 4.8 is where I ended up with the gearing. And then in our camber, again, we're going to have quite a bit of negative camber with 3.2 in the front and 2.8 in the rear. And then default in both the toe and the caster angle. Did not need to make any adjustments in either of those two. And I typically don't, unless there's just something off in the straightaway and I need to bump up that caster a little bit. But this was very stable, so didn't need to do that. So in our roll bars, we're at 24.6 in the front and 15.86 in the rear. Did go a fair amount softer in the rear, and you'll see that this is what we would call understeer tune to help control the slippage of the rear side of the car, being that we're running on those stock tires. So this helps to keep the car controlled. And you're going to see the same situation with the springs with 540.7 in the front, 412.4 in the rear. I did drop the ride height all the way down and did not notice any ill effects coming over the turn strips or anything, so I did leave them at 5.7 and 5.7. Over into the dampening. Again, like you'll see in all of mine, very stiff with 10.2 and 9.0. Again, understeer tuned to help with the oversteer that you get in the car, and 2.0 and 1.4 on our bump stiffness. Take all the aero out, as you're going to want to do in pretty much every D-class car, and probably most of them in C-class as well. Really don't start adding aero until you get, maybe into B in some cars and A and on up, and then you'll go from maybe a middle on up to full aero once you get up into your higher classes. But so we pull all the aero out of there, and then our brakes are at 53% and 125, slightly lower than normal, but this is a pretty light car. This is, as always, your preference on the braking, but this felt really balanced to me. And we ended up at 20 and 8. I actually had the acceleration a little bit higher, but I was experiencing some slippage coming out of turns when getting back on the throttle, so I did dial that acceleration number down just a little bit. And 8 is pretty much just my starting point on the deceleration for most tracks. So anyway, that's all the race, the build, the tune. I think this is a car you're really going to like. Another great car to have in your garage for multiplayer racing, for your rivals challenges. It's a great all-around car, going to do well on a lot of tracks, primarily the speed tracks, but you can run it probably pretty much anywhere and do pretty well with it. So we're going to end it with that. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Later.